You know, my friends, sometimes silence speaks louder than words ever could. We live in a world that constantly demands explanations, where people want to know why you didn't react, why you walked away, why you smiled when they expected you to break. But a true queen, she doesn't explain her silence. She embodies it. Because her silence isn't emptiness, it's mastery. You see, maturity is not proven by how loudly you respond to the world, but by how calmly you stay centered when the world tests your peace. A queen's silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom that refuses to waste itself. She knows that every word has energy, and not every situation deserves that energy. So when people misunderstand her silence, she smiles, because she's not living for validation, she's living for elevation. When others gossip, she guards her grace. When chaos calls her name, she answers with calm. Today, I want to share with you how a queen can turn her silence into strength, her calm into power, and her stillness into unstoppable progress. Because, my dear friends, when you stop explaining yourself to the world, the universe begins to explain you through your peace. Silence is not weakness, it is self-respect. You see, when a person truly understands their worth, they no longer feel the need to explain themselves to every voice that doubts them. The queen within you knows this truth. She understands that not every question deserves an answer, not every comment needs a reaction, and not every criticism is worthy of her peace. Her silence isn't a sign of defeat, it's a sign that she has outgrown the need to prove herself. In a world where people often confuse noise with power, she finds her strength in stillness. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that reacting to everything is draining, that defending themselves from every misunderstanding is exhausting. Think about it. How many times have you walked away from an argument wishing you had just stayed quiet, because silence would have preserved your peace, your dignity, and your energy? But ego doesn't like silence. Ego loves to argue, to prove, to shout, "I'm right." Wisdom, however, smiles and whispers, "Be still." A queen listens to wisdom, not ego. Imagine a scene we've all experienced. Someone says something unfair about you. Maybe a friend misunderstands your intentions, or a colleague spreads a rumor. Instantly, your mind wants to defend, to speak, to explain. But you pause, you take a deep breath, and you realize something powerful: their words cannot touch the truth of who you are. You don't need to announce your innocence. Life will reveal it. You don't need to prove your worth. Your consistency will prove it. That pause, that restraint, that silence, that's not weakness. That's maturity. That's self-respect. When we respond to negativity with silence, we are not being passive. We are choosing a higher path. It's like standing on a mountain while others argue in the valley. From above, you can see everything clearly. You realize that their noise doesn't reach your height. You see the futility of explaining yourself to people who have already made up their minds. The queen knows that silence isn't absence, it's presence. It's the quiet confidence that says, "I know who I am, and I don't need your approval to feel complete." Sometimes, silence is the most eloquent form of communication. It speaks what words cannot. When someone hurts you, your silence says, "I'm too grown to fight for attention." When someone doubts you, your silence says, "Watch me, and time will tell." When life feels heavy, your silence becomes prayer. It becomes that sacred space where you sit with God, not with opinions. Because in silence, you hear the only voice that truly matters, the voice within. We often misunderstand silence because we think strength must always be loud. But think about nature. The ocean doesn't need to roar every second to prove its depth. The sun doesn't shout to prove its power. The wind doesn't explain where it's going. It just moves. Silence holds an invisible strength that words often fail to carry. It's like the calm center of a storm. Even when chaos swirls around, the center remains still. That's what a queen's silence looks like. Steady, centered, untouchable. Let me tell you something beautiful. When you learn to remain silent in front of chaos, the chaos loses its control over you. Because silence breaks cycles. It ends arguments that would never end. It ends misunderstandings that explanations could only worsen. It ends the need to be seen because you've already seen yourself clearly. That's where self-respect blooms, in the soil of inner clarity. There will be people who mistake your silence for weakness. Let them. There will be those who interpret your calmness as fear. Let them. Their assumptions are not your burden to correct. The moment you stop defending yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, you set yourself free. And that freedom tastes sweeter than any victory in debate. Because the queen knows when she is at peace with herself, no external noise can disturb her kingdom. Every day, life gives us opportunities to practice this art. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Someone criticizes your choices. Someone fails to see your heart, and you could react, but you choose not to. You smile, you breathe, and you walk away in silence. That's not losing. That's leading yourself wisely. It's ruling your emotions instead of being ruled by them. It's walking like royalty through the noise of the world, untouched by the dust it throws. So, when you find yourself misunderstood, when your intentions are twisted, when your kindness is taken for granted, don't rush to explain. Let silence speak. Let time reveal. Let peace protect you. Because when your heart is aligned with truth, you don't need to convince anyone else of it. Your peace will be your proof. A queen's silence is not the absence of words, it's the presence of strength. It's her invisible crown, shining without announcement. It's her armor that no negativity can pierce. And when she walks away quietly, she's not escaping the situation, she's rising above it. So, the next time the world tries to provoke your peace, remember, silence is not weakness, it's self-respect. The moment you understand that, you stop reacting to noise and start responding to life with grace. And that, my friends, is where real power begins. When you can stand in silence and still be heard louder than ever before. You don't need to explain what only time will reveal. The beauty of life is that truth always finds its own way to the surface. You don't have to chase it, force it, or defend it. When your intentions are pure and your heart is right, time becomes your greatest witness. The problem is that we often feel pressure to prove ourselves too soon. We want people to understand us immediately, to see our sincerity, to validate our worth. But real peace begins when you no longer rush to be understood. Because you trust that what's genuine will be revealed not by your explanations, but by your consistency. Think about it. Every meaningful change in your life took time. A seed doesn't shout when it's planted, it stays silent in the dark soil. But slowly, patiently, it pushes through the earth and reaches the light. It doesn't explain its struggle to anyone. It simply grows. In the same way, when you are misunderstood, when your efforts are unseen, or when your character is questioned, don't waste your energy explaining the seed stage of your journey to those who only recognize flowers. Keep growing in silence. One day, when you bloom, your growth will explain everything. There are times in life when people will misjudge your silence, your choices, or even your kindness. They may say you've changed. They may doubt your heart. They may twist your intentions. And your mind will scream to defend itself. But pause and ask yourself, will my words really convince them? Or will my peace? Because people don't truly listen to explanations, they watch consistency. Over time, consistency tells the story more clearly than any speech ever could. Let's take an example from daily life. Imagine a woman starting her own business. At first, no one believes in her. People around her say, she's wasting her time, or it's impossible. She could argue back. She could try to convince everyone of her vision. But instead, she stays silent. She keeps working when no one's watching. She keeps believing when no one supports her. Years later, the same people who doubted her are the ones admiring her success. She didn't need to explain anything. Time did that for her. Her persistence became her proof. Her growth became her answer. That's the power of patience. You don't need to defend your journey when your destination will do it for you. Time is the fairest judge. It may test you, it may delay you, but it never denies truth. The person who waits with calmness always wins in the long run, because explanation comes from ego, but revelation comes from faith. And faith doesn't argue, it trusts. Sometimes, the reason we want to explain ourselves is because we crave validation. We want people to see our heart, to understand our pain, to know that we're not wrong. But here's the truth, those who truly know, you don't need explanations. And those who don't know, you won't believe them anyway. So why drain yourself trying to convince people who are not even trying to understand? Let your silence protect your peace, and let time handle the rest. The queen inside you knows that explaining is temporary, but revealing through action is eternal. In relationships too, this wisdom applies deeply. You might love someone purely, give your best, and still be misunderstood. You might be accused of things your heart would never even imagine. And you'll want to clear your name, to explain your intentions, to prove your loyalty. But sometimes no words can heal what perception has already poisoned. The best thing you can do is to stay calm, stay kind, and allow life to unfold, because time has a way of bringing the truth to light. One day, those who doubted you will see what your silence was saying all along, that your heart was pure. You don't have to fight every false story. You don't have to attend every argument. You're invited to. When your character is solid, time will protect your name. When your heart is clean, time will reveal your truth. Every misunderstanding is temporary, but truth is permanent. So instead of reacting, keep doing the right thing. Keep walking your path with dignity. Eventually, time will turn your pain into purpose and your silence into strength. Think of the most graceful people you've met. They rarely explain themselves. They live authentically, and their life becomes the message. They trust the process, even when the process feels unfair. And that's what a true queen does. She knows that rushing to explain is like opening a rose before it's ready to bloom. It ruins the beauty that was meant to unfold naturally. So she lets life open her story petal by petal, gracefully, at the right moment. There's something divinely powerful about trusting time. When you allow life to reveal things in its own rhythm, you show deep faith in the universe's order. You say, I don't need to prove anything, because what's mine will find its way. And it always does. People come to see the truth eventually. Situations turn in your favor when you stop forcing them. Energy flows where peace resides. So, the next time someone misunderstands you, smile and let it be. Don't rush to justify your silence. Don't try to make them see your side. Time will, life will, God will, The universe has its own way of revealing truth at the perfect hour. And when that hour comes, your calmness will shine brighter than any explanation could have. A queen doesn't explain her silence because she trusts that time will speak on her behalf. She doesn't chase validation, she lets the truth chase her. She knows that everything hidden will one day come to light, and when it does, her patience will be her crown. So, hold your head high, stay silent when needed, and let time do what only time can do. Reveal the beauty of your truth to the world. Silence protects your energy. In a world where everyone is speaking, shouting, and reacting, silence has become one of the rarest forms of strength. We live in times when opinions are louder than understanding and noise is mistaken for confidence. But a truly wise person knows that not everything deserves a reaction, not every situation deserves their spirit. The queen understands that her peace is sacred, her mind is her temple, and her energy is her greatest wealth. So, she chooses silence, not because she has nothing to say, but because she refuses to waste her energy where it won't grow. Every word we speak carries energy. When we argue, defend, or engage in negativity, we pour our life force into things that don't serve us. That's why silence is not empty, it's full of power. It's the space where we decide what deserves our response and what deserves our peace. Think of your energy as water in a vessel. Every time you argue with someone who doesn't want to understand you, you pour a little of it out. Every time you overthink what someone said, you spill a little more. And by the end of the day, you wonder why you feel drained, tired, and uninspired. It's because you leaked your energy through unnecessary noise. Silence is like sealing that vessel. It keeps your energy safe, your emotions steady, and your spirit full. Imagine you're walking through your day and someone says something rude or unfair. Your instinct might push you to react instantly. But in that moment, silence becomes your shield. You take a deep breath, and instead of reacting, you respond with calm or you simply walk away. That decision may look small, but it's deeply powerful. Because instead of matching their chaos, you chose your calm. You didn't let their behavior decide your vibration. That's real control. That's emotional maturity. You kept your energy clean while they're scattered. Let's take a simple daily life example. Think of a workplace scenario where a colleague constantly tries to provoke you. Maybe they take credit for your work or throw sarcastic comments. You could argue, shout, or gossip back. But what if you stay silent and let your results speak? You continue doing your best. You maintain grace even when they test your patience. Over time, your silence becomes so loud that everyone begins to see the truth. The respect you earn from your calm presence outweighs any satisfaction you could have gotten from fighting back. That's the kind of energy silence protects, the kind that can't be shaken by pettiness. You see, the energy of peace is the highest vibration in this universe. When you are at peace, you attract clarity, blessings, and strength. But when you are reactive, your energy scatters into everything and everyone around you. It's like trying to light a fire during a storm. It simply won't burn bright. Silence creates the calm space where your inner fire can glow steadily. It allows you to think clearly, to choose wisely, and to act gracefully. That's why the strongest people are often the quietest. They are not ignoring life, they are mastering it from within. Silence also helps you observe. When you are quiet, you can truly hear what people mean beyond what they say, what situations are teaching you beyond what they show. Sometimes, in silence, you learn who deserves your voice and who deserves your absence. It's through silence that you recognize the difference between those who genuinely care and those who are just curious. Protecting your energy doesn't mean building walls, it means learning to filter. You don't stop loving, you just stop leaking. You don't stop caring, you just stop carrying what's not yours. There's a story told about a monk who was insulted by a man in a marketplace. The monk stood still and smiled. The man shouted, "Why don't you say anything? Are you too proud?" The monk replied softly, "If someone offers you a gift and you don't accept it, who does it belong to?" The man said, "It still belongs to the giver." The monk smiled again and said, "Exactly. When you don't accept negativity, it remains with the one who sent it. That's what silence does. It returns the energy to where it came from, untouched." We often think reacting proves we are strong. But sometimes reacting is exactly what weakens us. Every time you respond to negativity, you feed it. Every time you explain yourself to people who enjoy misunderstanding you, you give them power. The queen knows better. She saves her voice for things that matter. She speaks when her words can heal, not when they can harm. She listens more than she talks, observes more than she reacts, and moves with intention instead of impulse. That's how she keeps her energy royal, pure, focused, and unbothered. There's a kind of beauty that radiates from someone who is at peace with their silence. Their presence alone carries calmness. People feel safe around them, not because they are loud, but because their stillness is strong. You can be that person. You can be the calm in the storm, the stillness in the noise, the peace in the chaos, but it begins with protecting your energy, and silence is the way. So when life tries to provoke you, pause. When someone tests your patience, breathe. When chaos knocks at your door, stay centered. Protect your energy like a sacred flame. Don't waste it on things that won't matter tomorrow. Because every moment you remain calm in the face of chaos, you become more powerful than you realize. Silence is not avoidance, it's awareness. It's knowing that your peace is priceless and no argument is worth losing it. The moment you understand that, you'll stop explaining, stop reacting, and start conserving your energy for what truly matters. And in that calm, quiet strength, you'll discover something extraordinary. The more silent you become, the more powerful your presence will feel. Because true queens don't compete with noise. They rise above it gracefully, silently, and beautifully. Calmness confuses chaos. In a world where anger is often louder than understanding, calmness becomes the most unexpected and powerful response. People don't know how to handle calm energy because they expect you to react the way they do. To argue, to shout, to defend, to fight back. But when you stay centered, when you remain calm while everything around you screams for your reaction, you take away the power that chaos tries to hold over you. That's what true strength looks like. It's not in how loud you can get, but in how quietly you can rise above the noise. When you meet a person who can stay calm under pressure, you're witnessing emotional mastery. Calmness isn't pretending everything is fine. It's understanding that you don't need to lose yourself to prove your point. Life will test your peace again and again. There will be misunderstandings, disappointments, and unfair situations that will tempt you to react. But when you pause and choose calmness instead of chaos, you break a pattern that has trapped so many people. The pattern of reaction. Calmness is not passive, it's a deliberate choice to protect your dignity. Imagine this: you're in traffic, you've had a long day, and suddenly someone cuts you off aggressively. Your first instinct: anger. You feel that heat rise in your chest, the urge to honk, to yell, to teach them a lesson. But then you take a breath. You remember that your peace is worth more than proving a point to a stranger. You let it go. That one small decision, choosing calmness, changes your entire day. Because if you had reacted, that anger would have followed you home, into your evening, into your energy. But by choosing calm, you kept your spirit clear. That's how calmness confuses chaos. It stops it from spreading. Chaos feeds on reaction. It wants you to fight back, to get emotional, to lower your vibration. But when you don't play that game, it runs out of fuel. Your calmness disarms the energy that was meant to disturb you. It's like being in a storm and suddenly realizing that you don't have to fight the rain. You just have to become still and let it pass. The queen within you knows this truth. She doesn't lower her crown to argue with storms. She lets her calmness carry her through. There's an old saying, when you argue with a fool, you become one. Chaos always tries to pull you into its frequency, but calmness lifts you above it. Picture a workplace conflict. Someone accuses you of something you didn't do or spreads rumors about you. You could fight back, defend yourself, or complain to others. But instead, you choose calmness. You stay composed, keep doing your work with grace, and let time reveal the truth. That calm presence confuses those who expected you to react. They start to wonder, why isn't she responding? Why isn't she angry? They don't realize that calmness is your silent power. It makes noise irrelevant. When you remain calm, you send a silent message to the world. I am not controlled by circumstances. I am guided by awareness. Calmness gives you clarity. It helps you see solutions where chaos only sees problems. It allows you to think before you speak, to pause before you act, and to observe before you judge. People who are always rushing, shouting, or overreacting often miss the truth hidden in silence. Calmness opens your eyes to what chaos blinds you from seeing. Sometimes, calmness is also the most compassionate response. When someone is angry or hurting, reacting with more anger only adds fuel to the fire. But calmness absorbs that heat and cools the situation. It's like when a friend lashes out at you in pain. You could take it personally, or you could stay calm and see beyond their words. Maybe they're struggling, maybe they need understanding. Your calmness can become a healing force for others. That's why calm people have such magnetic energy. They make others feel safe. There's a deep connection between calmness and confidence. Insecurity reacts, confidence observes. When you are calm, you're not afraid of silence. You're not afraid of being misunderstood. You're not afraid of letting go. That calm confidence says, I don't need to win every battle because I'm focused on winning peace. It's not weakness. It's wisdom that comes from knowing that not everything deserves your fire. Some things deserve your stillness. Think of nature again. The sky never fights with the storm. It lets it pass. The river doesn't resist the rocks. It flows around them. The sun doesn't rush to rise. It shines in its own time. Everything in nature moves with calm intelligence. And that same intelligence lives in you. When you slow down, breathe, and stay calm, you align with that divine rhythm of life. You stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with grace. You'll notice that calm people don't need to explain much. Their presence itself speaks. They don't need to prove their strength, it radiates silently. They don't get dragged into drama because they've learned that peace is far more valuable than being right. When you reach that level of calmness, you become unshakable. You can walk through chaos and nothing outside can disturb the temple within. So, when life throws storms your way, When people test your patience, when things don't go as planned, when emotions rise, remember this: calmness is your crown. Wear it proudly. The world may try to provoke you, but your peace is your silent answer. Don't let chaos pull you down to its level. Let your calmness lift you higher. Because the moment you remain calm in a situation that used to trigger you, you've won a battle within yourself that no one can see but everyone can feel. And that victory, my friend, is the mark of true royalty, a heart that remains calm even when surrounded by storms. A queen doesn't rush her healing. She understands that growth is not a race, it's a rhythm, a divine rhythm that unfolds in its own time. The world may rush her. People may expect her to bounce back instantly, to smile before her heart is ready, to move on before her soul has even had the chance to breathe. But she doesn't let society's clock dictate her healing. She knows that every scar carries wisdom, every tear washes away something she no longer needs, and every silent moment is shaping her into someone softer, wiser, and stronger. Healing cannot be rushed, because true healing isn't about pretending you're fine. It's about finally feeling safe enough to be honest with your pain. In a world obsessed with getting over it, the queen chooses to go through it. She doesn't suppress her emotions, she sits with them. She listens to what her pain is trying to teach her. She knows that when life breaks her heart, it's not the end, it's the beginning of deeper understanding. Healing takes time because it's not only about fixing what's broken, but also about rediscovering the strength you had before you were hurt. And that rediscovery is sacred. It's a journey between your soul and the divine. Imagine someone going through a heartbreak or betrayal. Everyone around them says, just move on, don't think about it. But they can't, because their heart still bleeds quietly in places no one sees. The queen understands this. She doesn't rush to distract herself with new people, new work, or new experiences. Instead, she allows herself to feel it. She cries if she must. She prays when words fail. She stays still when the world wants her to move. Because she knows that time doesn't heal by itself. It heals when you allow truth to touch the wound. She doesn't numb the pain. She transforms it. She learns from it. She lets it make her deeper, not bitter. Healing slowly doesn't mean she is weak. It means she respects the process. Flowers don't bloom overnight. Rivers don't form in minutes. And the sun doesn't rise instantly. Nature takes its time to create beauty. And so does the human heart. The queen knows that trying to rush her recovery would only make the wound deeper. So she gives herself the grace to take one small step at a time. Some days she smiles. Some days she cries. Some days she does nothing but breathe, and that's perfectly okay. Because every breath in peace is also part of healing. She learns that in her silence, there's a sacred conversation happening between her and the divine. God doesn't heal in noise, He heals in stillness. When she sits alone, lost in her thoughts, and whispers, "I'm trying," the universe listens. The pain she once thought would break her begins to soften her heart. Slowly, she starts to understand that her healing isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about forgiving what happened. It's about reclaiming her power from what once made her powerless. It's about learning to trust again, not because life is perfect, but because she has become wiser. Think of daily life moments when you've seen someone rush healing. Maybe they go through a breakup and immediately look for distractions, new people, new hobbies, constant activity, just to fill the silence. But that silence is where the real transformation waits. When you avoid it, you delay your peace. When you sit in it, you discover your strength. The queen embraces the silence. She lets her heart speak in its own time. And when she rises, she doesn't rise half-healed. She rises whole, radiant, unshakable. There's also something profoundly peaceful about taking your time to heal. You stop comparing your journey with others. You realize that everyone heals differently. Some forgive quickly, some take years, some find peace in solitude, others in prayer. What matters is that you honor your own rhythm. The queen doesn't look at others' timelines. She trusts her own. She knows that healing isn't a straight path, it's a spiral. Sometimes you think you're done, and suddenly the memory comes back. And instead of blaming herself for feeling again, she simply breathes and reminds herself, this too is part of my healing. That self-compassion is her crown. Healing also means setting boundaries. It means saying no to what disturbs your peace, even if it disappoints others. It means taking space without guilt. It means resting without apology. The queen knows that her energy is sacred, and she protects it while she rebuilds her spirit. She doesn't rush to prove she's okay. She takes her time to rediscover who she is beyond the hurt, because sometimes pain changes you so deeply that you need time to meet the new version of yourself. And one day, quietly, without announcement, she wakes up and realizes she no longer hurts the same way. The memories are still there, but they don't burn anymore. The scar remains, but it no longer aches. That's when she knows healing has happened. It didn't come overnight. It came through every moment she chose peace over panic, patience over pressure, stillness over speed. Her calm became her cure. Her silence became her strength. A queen doesn't rush her healing because she knows that wholeness is not built in haste. It's crafted slowly through reflection, surrender, and grace. She honors the seasons of her soul just as nature honors its own. And when she finally rises, she doesn't just survive, she shines with the kind of light that comes only from those who've been through darkness and didn't let it define them. So take your time, don't rush your healing, because the version of you that will emerge after this storm will be wiser, softer, and more radiant than ever before. There comes a stage in every queen's journey when she realizes that not every battle is meant to be fought, and not every voice deserves a reply. The sixth principle of a truly graceful and strong woman lies in understanding that peace is more valuable than proving a point. In a world where everyone is racing to be heard, where silence is mistaken for weakness and explanations are demanded as proof of strength, the queen knows that her silence is her loudest roar. She doesn't rush to clarify. She doesn't beg to be understood. She simply lets her character, her consistency, and her calmness speak for her. Because a woman who is deeply connected with her inner spirit knows that explanations often drain energy that could instead be invested in growth. Think of how often we waste our peace trying to convince people who have already made up their minds about us. Maybe you've experienced this. Someone misunderstands your intentions,